Hi guys, so I'm here today to do a review on the Samantha Chapman Real Techniques makeup brushes. You can buy these brushes online from I think iherb.com, and you can also buy them from Priceline. iHerb is a lot cheaper. I was fortunate enough to know the company that was importing them to distribute out to businesses, so I managed to get them in before, a couple of months before Priceline actually had them in their store. So I've been really lucky. I've had them for quite a while now, so I just thought it's probably time that I did a review on them. Okay, so the first lot of brushes I want to talk about are the Accent Enhance Your Eyes starter set. So this is the kit that it sort of comes with. As you can see, it's probably got a little toggle there so you can sort of make this stand up, and then when you don't want it to stand up, you can just lie it flat and just chuck it in your bag like that for traveling. And it's got a cute little handle. Personally, I just take I've got like a little travel brush canister, and I've got so many brushes that I sort of have my own sort of little travel system, so I don't really use that, but it is a really good idea if you're going away somewhere and you just want to sort of sit it on a like on a ledge or something, to sort of stand the brushes up and so they don't get dirty while you're away. So now getting into the brushes, this one here is the base shadow brush. This one here is the deluxe crease brush. This here, tiny one here, is an accent brush. This is called the Pixel Point eyeliner brush, and this is the brow brush here. So that's what they all look like. These are amazing brushes. I love these eye brushes. Out of all the brushes, I'd probably say the eye brushes as a whole set are like my favourite. This one here is the base shadow brush, and it reminds me very much of the MAC 217. The way it blends, the way it applies eyeshadow, and the way it blends is really, really nice, and I find it gives a really lovely finish. So that one is definitely a really good one to have. This one here is the deluxe crease brush, and that's sort of what it looks like. If you have a look, if I tip it on the side, you can kind of see just how wide that brush is. Now, I would have never seen a brush with that sort of dimension, that thickness, and so this is a really unique brush, and I really enjoy using that one. I think it's fantastic to be blending out in the crease, and it's just really soft. The bristles are made of Taklon, which is a synthetic bristle, so it's cruelty free. I was actually really surprised, because synthetic brushes, to me, when I hear synthetic brushes, I just sort of, alarm bells sort of go off in my head, thinking they're not going to be much good, because I've been using hair brushes for years and years now, so I've sort of gotten used to that one. So I was a bit unsure about trying these synthetic brushes, but they're really good. Another thing, because they are synthetic, is you can actually use them with wet products. If you've got a cream eyeshadow, or you want to like apply pigment or something wet, you can just sort of damp the brushes, and because it is synthetic, it's easier to clean, and it's not going to sort of soak up all of the product as well. These brushes here, this is the accent brush. Now this brush is just really tiny, so it just looks like that. And this one here is called the Pixel Point eyeliner. Now this one, it just seems really quite thick. I was really surprised when I saw this brush, because I thought it's called Pixel Point, and I expect that to be like an incredibly fine line. I wouldn't really expect to get a really thin line using this brush, but it actually surprised me, and you actually got a really nice brush, and it was incredibly easy to apply gel eyeliner on with that brush as well. So I was a big fan of that one. And lastly, this is the brow brush, which is an angled brush like that. It's fantastic again for just filling in brows. It's a really good thickness, and yeah, sort of just your average angled brow brush. So that's that first lot. The next one we've got here, this one is the Core Collection. This is sort of the orange handles are for basically your foundation and your base. So all purple handles are eyes, all orange handles are foundation and base, and all the red handles, sort of like your setting brushes and things like that. So this is the Core Collection. This one here is the buffing brush, this here is the detailer brush, this one here is the angled foundation brush, and this one over here is the contour brush. As far as these sort of face brushes go, there's a few things I'm not a big fan of, to be perfectly honest, and there's nothing faulting the brushes at all. To me, it's just more of like a design type thing. First of all, they've all got these really thick handles, and that's sort of designed to be able to stand your brush up. I mean, if you're using something like this, you shouldn't really have to, and I find these really sort of thick bases down here really quite annoying, because it sort of takes up half of the brush canisters that I keep them in, and I don't know, I just don't really think that they're they don't really add anything to the brush itself. It's just sort of a bit more frustrating for me as a user personally. So that's one thing I don't like about these brushes. Now this one here is the buffing brush, and as you can see, it's sort of like a fairly dense kind of brush, and it's quite tightly packed in there, and it's a really good brush for applying foundations and just sort of really buffing foundations into your skin. Now this is the contour brush, and I really love this brush. I think this is a fantastic brush, especially for contouring. As you can see, it's sort of a rounded edge there, sort of comes to a bit of a taper, but the reason this is really good is because it just really gets into that contour line. It's like the perfect size. That's one of my favourite brushes. So this brush here is the detailer brush, and I'm pretty sure it's sort of designed to sort of like spot apply concealer and things like that. I actually use it as a lip brush, to be perfectly honest. I don't find that I really would use it as a concealer brush. I use it more as a lip brush, which it does a really good job with, so that's probably why it's a bit red. I just applied, used it with some lip tars this morning, so that's that one. And this one here is a pointed foundation brush. Now this brush to me is just, it's really odd. I mean, again, there's nothing wrong with the brush. It applies foundation really quite nicely. It's so small, I wouldn't even use it for foundation. I actually much prefer to use it under my eye to blend out under eye concealer, sort of around my nose. I use this one more of a concealer brush. Now let me just show you. This is the size difference between this brush and this is just a normal flat foundation brush. I find that if I'm sort of applying foundation, I want foundation brushes to be big and to apply a lot of foundation sort of really quickly, but I can just imagine sort of going like this all over my face. It would take a really, really long time. I think kind of like as a design thing, I think this is a little bit too small. It's a fantastic concealer brush, but I wouldn't use it as a foundation brush. This one, which is the Travel Essentials kit. So basically with this kit, you should be able to apply everything you need. So basically with this kit, when you go travelling, you really should only need to take this kit with you, and you should be able to apply a full face of makeup, which I don't know if that's really the case. So this one here is the Essential Foundation brush. This one here is the Domed Shadow brush, and this brush here is the Multitask brush. So there they are like that. Again, this foundation brush, it's a little bit bigger than that one. The size is going up, so you can use this one probably more for foundation, but again you can also use this one for concealer because it has got the tapered point. You sort of get in there under your eyes and sort of on the side of your nose, so you can sort of really get in there with that tapered point. So there's that. The next one here is the Dome Shadow brush. Again, this is sort of like a really sort of fluffier version. It reminds me a little bit like the 217 from MAC, but not quite as much as the base shadow brush. So there are those two. This one's just a little bit more fluffy, so it's a really sort of good one to apply a thin wash of colour all over your eyelid, because it's like a really fluffy brush and would cover a lot of area. So it's the Dome Shadow brush, and this is just the Multitask brush, which can be used for like blush or contouring or you know, just setting powder, anything that you would need a big fluffy brush for. Now, one thing I do love about these brushes, and I'll say it again, is they are so incredibly soft. For synthetic, I was really surprised at the quality of the hairs. They are, yeah, amazingly soft. Now, just getting into the single brushes. First of all, this is the Kabuki brush, so it sort of looks like that. So it's on a slight angle on the side, but it also opens up to sort of be able to give you a thin, I guess you could use that for contouring as well, sort of get into the contour of your cheeks if you wanted to. Unfortunately, when I open with this brush, I think design wise, it's sort of, once it's open, you should be able to sort of click it open so it sort of stays, because as you're sort of doing it, you sort of have to hold it quite tight so you can keep the set. So unfortunately with this brush, I'm not sure about the design of it, because I think when you sort of open it up, there should be an option to sort of be able to snap it open so it can sort of stay like that. Because you can't do that, it sort of is a tendency to sort of wobble around. So as you're sort of applying it, it sort of seems to start closing, and you're not getting the straightness that you're sort of after when you're opening the brush. And to sort of make it work, you sort of have to really hold it there with all the fingers like that, so it sort of doesn't move. But then when I did that, I sort of must have pressed too hard and the bottom of it sort of broke in there, so now it just sort of just flaps around. So I don't know if it was just mine might have been just slightly faulty, or I'm not sure if someone else has sort of found that problem, but I just think design wise it should just sort of snap open and sort of stay like that, and then if I want to close it, just sort of be able to release it and keep it closed like that. But again, it's a really nice soft brush, good for buffing in foundations, good for applying blush, contouring, anything with that one. So it's a really good sort of multitask kabuki brush, that one. Now getting into the individual brushes, first of all, this one here is the stippling brush. As you can see, it's sort of like a duo fiber brush, but the white length is not as long as a lot of the other ones you see, and it's not quite as dense as the other ones. It's quite sparse with the brushes, with the bristles. Again, it's sort of, but the only problem I find with this one is, again, it's just really small, so if you're sort of using this to buff in foundation, you're sort of going at it for quite a while. Also with these handles, they're sort of getting a bit worse as we go along, so these ones sort of spread out more on the bottom, so it's even more difficult to sort of fit them in. They do stand up on the tabletop, however, but I just don't need that as a I just don't really need my brushes to stand up on tabletops. I sort of need them to fit in canisters, and you can't put these in normal brush rolls because of the width of the base. So this one's not my favourite brush, again, because it's just too small. I just find it's a little bit too small. I'd rather use like a MAC 187, which is slightly bigger, or using one of the Sigma kabuki brushes I find is a bit better to buff in foundation. And I just don't like the base because it's getting a lot wider than the shaft of the brush. So that's that one. That's a stippling brush. Saying that, that's just, like I'm saying, this is just a personal thing. I've heard a lot of people raving about that and they're saying that's their favourite brush, but you know, this is just my opinions. Next one, while we're getting on the face brushes, this one is the blush brush, and as you can sort of see, this is a really unusual shape as well. A sort of domed, a really oval domed sort of tapered off tip there. Again, I really like this brush for applying foundation, for blush. I really like it. You can sort of just put blush on the tops and just put it on the apples of your cheeks if you want, or you can sort of really press it in and blend the foundation, blend your blush back. So I really like that. And again, these brushes are so soft. Unfortunately, the handle's still going out a little bit more on that one, but that's a really good brush. Now, I'll leave my favourite one to last, I think. Just a couple more eye brushes. This one here is called the shading brush, and that's what it looks like. Again, I'm not really sure what they're expecting this one to be used for, because you've also got the accent brush. I'm guessing the accent brush is to sort of get in right on the sort of inner tear duct of your eye, so that's why that's so small. This one is a little bit too small to just sort of put shadow on, because it's like a really small brush. You probably could put shadow on, but again, it would take a while. You could use this one as a highlight, sort of brow highlight brush if you wanted to. I can't really see any point buying this one separately as it comes, whereas you've got the entire eye kit and you really can do everything you need with that one kit. So that's the shader brush. I could take it or leave it, really. Now this one here is the lash brow groomer. Now as you can sort of see here, this has actually got the metal comb, so it's quite good for really getting into your eyelashes and unclumping the mascara and sort of really combing it out. And this eyebrow brush, again, it's sort of looks like that. The bristles are really quite hard, so you can really get into your brows and sort of comb them and groom them and get them to sit where you want. So that's a really handy one to have, and that's definitely one I would recommend getting, because I really do like these metal combs to get unclump mascara. I think it does a really good job. This is the normal foundation brush, and as you can sort of see, it's a bit more angled. Now this one is getting more to the size of a normal everyday foundation brush, so I do like that one. I like the way that it's sort of angled up. Because the bristles are angled, you sort of really get in under your eye and apply foundation there, and it sort of really wrap around your nose. So I find that because this brush is sort of angled, it really does make it a good way to apply foundation. And because this one is, let me just show you the size. As you can kind of see, we're getting a lot bigger in size. So finally a foundation brush with a decent size. If it wasn't for that handle, I'd say this is one of my favourite foundation brushes. But you know, it's really good. That one, I think I would prefer them to put this one in a kit than this one and just take that one out. But and the last one we've got here is the powder brush, and this has got to be my absolute all-time favourite brush of the Real Techniques line. This is just, it is, look how big it is. It is massive. I don't know if you can sort of see, look how big that one is. It is so fluffy, it is so soft. It's fantastic for putting on. You can use it for like putting powder on to set your foundation. You can even use it as like a blush. So even after you've put on your blush and your contour, you can just sort of take this one with a bit of loose powder over your face and sort of like buff out any harsh lines that you may have. It is just a really good all over fantastic fluffy brush. I love it, and I've been using this one so much. I actually just called up and ordered a couple more of these because I really do like them. So that's all the brushes there to show you. Overall, I'm really impressed with them. I think they're fantastic. I don't think I've ever really used anything made out of these Taklon bristles, so I was a bit unsure what it would be like. I was really impressed with the way they blend, the way they apply product, and the way that they're just really soft on your skin, so you sort of don't feel your skin pulling at all. I would like to see with these brushes is I would like to see some of these eye brushes sort of maybe be sold separately, because like this domed crease brush and the base shadow brush, they only come in the set of the eye kit, and look, I don't really need any more sort of angle brushes or small brushes or eyeliner brushes, but I really would like to have some of these brushes. So unfortunately I can't buy them separately, so that's one thing that I just wish they would change about it. Apart from those small little design issues like the size of the foundation brushes and the handles that sort of help you stand up, like I'll just show you on my phone. Like, so that's it standing up. That's fantastic, but I don't want it to stand up. So apart from those small things, I think they're amazing brushes. You've done such a good job making them. I really enjoy using them. The clients that I've used them on have said that they're really soft, and they just sort of wonder where they can get them from. Apart from those one or two minor things that I can pick up on, like I said, it's just personal preference. I know a lot of people who have said that they love this stippling brush. Unfortunately for me, it's not my favourite brush. For the price, yes. I know they're available at Priceline, but they are a little bit expensive. If you go to iherb.com, you can order them from there. From America, they ship them over, and you actually pay American retail prices. So that is it for my Real Techniques brush review. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment bar below, and I'll go through and read them and answer any questions you have. Or if you've used these brushes and you don't like them, or you do like them, or there's brushes that I don't like that you love, let me know, and let me know what you use that brush for particularly, so maybe then I could sort of use it for that brush and I might find a different use for it. I'd like to see some feedback on this video, so thank you so much for watching. As usual, if you'd like to see more of my videos, please subscribe to my channel, and I will put a link in the description bar to my Facebook page, my blog, and my Twitter account. So jump on there, come and like my Facebook page, and get in contact with me there. So that's it for now. I hope you guys are having a fantastic afternoon, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!